Hey everyone, what's up? Welcome to another intuitive tapping with yours truly. I'm really excited to dive into today's intuitive tapping. And the topic is all going to be around it's safe to move at the speed of my own light. Now, I have done a lot of this work and I really notice how quick life can go, how fast paced things are, breakneck speed of life, keeping up with the Jones, especially with motherhood, things move very, very quickly. Time flies by, right? And so we have this awareness if you've been around the block a little bit in personal growth and development and you're really fine tuning and becoming a little bit more intentional with your time, with your energy, with your attention, where you're doing things or how you're being, we know that intention is so much of everything. And so when we talk about slowing things down and getting really present and really like playing with manipulating time a little bit, like really time bending, really slowing things down for ourselves, we kind of still leave it a little bit open ended. And this is something that came through in a session I was facilitating a little while ago, where can we really get a little bit more finesse or refined in the intention of what kind of speed are we moving at? What is the speed that we want to be moving at? And that is the speed of our own light, right? So I think that it was a really cool kind of play on words, and it was really just a neat affirmation that came through. And I'd like to do some tapping on that today with some cards to help us round it out. So um, we have a lot of demands and distractions as mothers, as women, as people in this day and age. Attention is really, our attention can be really stretched. Our energy is really stretched. It's being called and demanded in many different directions. And so if we want to feel safe moving at our own pace, at this pace of or the speed of our own light, we need to understand kind of we have to be aware and acknowledge that we do have distractions, we do have demands, and we do have the power and the choice to really discern which of those are actually a priority. So if you're new here, my name is Megan Basita. I'm an energy management mentor. I work with moms to help them leverage their natural innate energy to help them make the most of their time. And energy management, I call myself an energy management mentor because it is really about focusing on your energy. If you want more time, you got to focus on your energy. You have to focus on you. You have to be very attentive to your mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual energy, the states, your mood, your mindset, your motivation. And so when we have a million other distractions and demands in our life, we can become very disconnected from our own pace, our own light. We can become very distracted and disconnected and disoriented from how we're meant to be moving throughout this life. And we just kind of pick up everybody else's expectations and everybody else's standards and the way that everybody else does things. And that's just how it is. And we lose sight of the innate ability, our innate ability to move at the speed of our own light. And so our first round today, I really want to just kind of release some space and give us some space from the distractions and the demands that we have in our everyday life. So especially pertaining to moms, we have our kids, we have our house and home, we have our spouse, we have our other relationships, we have work possibly. There's a lot of different things that is vying for our attention and our energy. And so the first card that came out for us today, as we look at our demands and our distractions and kind of creating some space and releasing that, is exchanging gifts. So I'm just going to read a little bit about what this card means, and it'll give us a little bit of a jumping off point for our first round of tapping. So when it comes to exchanging gifts here, this essential meaning means the law of giving and receiving, currency, trade-offs, weighing costs, and determining the value. So if we look at this from a motherhood perspective, we are exchanging our gifts all the time, right? We're giving and taking according to, the dynamics of the relationships or the dynamics of the external experiences that we have in our life currently. So taking stock of what that is right now, is really, really important. Keeping it current, keeping it present, kind of in the moment, in this, maybe in this day or this week, trying not to bring things in from the past or anticipate from the future. If you do recognize any of that kind of coming in, seeping in, there is most likely a theme or a thread that's kind of woven its way through. So it's affecting other things, but that's meant for a more of a one-on-one session. And so if you are curious about that, if stuff like that does come up for you where you can kind of recognize a theme or main thought or emotion or physical sensation that pops up when you're doing this work, please reach out and we can schedule an energy management session, and just kind of dig into what that means, where it comes from, and that like in a one-on-one session. So notes for that or directions for that will be in the description down there, or you can just message me at info@meganbasita.ca. So let's get tapping with our first round on as a mom. We exchange, most of the time when I take a look at this, when I feel into this, especially if a stay-at-home mom, you're basically exchanging your energy, your physical beingness, right, for your family, to your family. You're giving that to your family in reception and in receiving maybe financial support. This is kind of like one of those very common denominators or common dynamics between like just a regular old family, right? Like the man goes out and works, dad goes out, the husband goes out and works, right? And we stay home and we take care of the family. And so what are the demands and the distractions that get in the way of actually being able to allow that? Do you have any resistance to that? This is a huge one, I think, because I went through so much resistance, so much tension, so many beliefs, so much past conditioning, from this life and others around this, specifically between the exchange of my, emotional support and financial support, right? So for my emotional support, for being here, I was being financially supported. And that can be such a weird thing. I've worked through so much of it, and I now understand a lot of this is actually something that's coming up for me personally right now, is like that codependency aspect of it. But if I took out the resistance, if I took out the tension, and I actually just was happy with what it was, like this is what we decided that we were going to do anyway, so why am I fighting what we decided that we were going to do? If I took that out, this is connection. It's not codependency, it's connection. If I take out that, and if I work through, not just taking out and like not regarding it at all, but if I take out that codependent aspect of the tit for tat, right? Like I have to do this in order to get that. The conditional expectations that appear in that kind of dynamic, if I take that out, if I work on it, if I really understand what's going on there, and then I can actually move into the connection piece, which is we decided that this is what we wanted to do. I am happier than a pig in shit to be able to stay home and be with my family. And I appreciate the shit out of my husband for doing what he wants to do and doing for what he has to do and working and supporting us financially. And that dynamic is going to change. So the gifts that you exchange between you and your kids, between you and your spouse, between you and your home, between you and your work, maybe even between you and yourself, I think that's a really huge one to even take a look at as well. What are you exchanging? What are the conditions? What are the distractions? And the distractions and the demands, I'm going to call them like conditions and expectations, because that's basically what they are. You are being distracted from your truth. You're being distracted and from your alignment, from your most genuine sense of self, of being able to contribute and to be able to offer, unconditionally what it is that you have to offer as a mom, as a woman. And you're being distracted from that. And so what are those distractions? What is coming up for you? What are those blocks or barriers or challenges, the resistance that's coming up for you as you think about exchanging your gifts? So let's go ahead and tap on the side of the hand. If you've never tapped before and this is your first time, welcome. This is definitely going to be an experience for you. And you just tap on the same points that I'm tapping on, and you say the same things that I'm saying. I'm going to give you space to say that. Repeat after me. If you are not in a place to tap or speak out loud, you can just use this as kind of like an active meditation. You can just listen to it, get the benefits, borrow the benefits from just being here and being in the presence of the space, and come back to it. Come back to it if you can. So we're going to say, even though there's part of me that believes I have to exchange my gifts in order to receive. And sometimes this feels weird. I love and accept myself anyway. Even though part of me believes that I have conditions and expectations placed on me that I have no control over. I forgive myself for believing that today. And I love and accept myself anyway. Even though, excuse me, there's part of me that signed up for this and now feels a lot of resistance in this exchange. I'd like to honor and acknowledge this part of me today and love and accept it deeply and completely now. Okay, we're going to move to the top of the head. And we're going to say, being a mom, eyebrow point. It places a lot of demands on me. Side of the eye. I have a lot of expectations on me. Underneath the eye. There are a lot of conditions I have to meet. Underneath the nose. I once upon a time wanted this. Underneath the mouth. This is what I decided. Collarbone point. So part of me thinks I have to suck it up. Underneath the arms. I have to fulfill the contract. Underneath the chest. And I have to be this part. Wrist points. And exchange my gifts. Top of the head. Part of me resists this. Eyebrow part. Part of me did not know what this was going to be like. Side of the eye. Part of me was not aware of how hard that this was going to be. Underneath the eye. Part of me did not realize how much time and attention underneath the nose I was going to have to exchange. Underneath the mouth in order to receive. Collarbone point. I have to give underneath the arms so much of my time and attention underneath the chest in order to receive. Wrist points. That was the deal. top of the head. I would have to take care of these demands, eyebrow point, the demands of daily life, side of the eye. As a mom, underneath the eye. As a homemaker, underneath the nose, and maybe even as a wife, underneath the mouth. And it has created a lot of expectations. Collarbone point placed on me, underneath the arms, that I didn't really expect, underneath the chest. All of these demands and distractions. Wrist points, all of these things that I have to keep up with. Top of the head. I have lost the connection, eyebrow point, of being at my own pace, side of the eye, of going at my own pace, underneath the eye, and of doing at my own pace, underneath the nose. I forgive myself for believing, underneath the mouth, and for forgetting, collarbone point, that I have a pace of my own, underneath the arms, and that I forgot to prioritize that. Underneath the chest. I am ready to remember this today. Underneath, or yeah, sorry, wrist points. And I give myself permission, top of the head, to move at the speed of my own light today. All right, so take a nice gentle breath. If you have water, take a sip of water. If you need to take any notes, take some notes, because this can be very, very deep. It can get very complicated, right? So many lines are crossed. You know, there's so many dynamics that kind of get woven together when we do this work, especially as a mom, because we have so many different relationships, dynamics, like with our kids all together as our family, with our spouse, if that's applicable. You know, we have that dynamic with each individual. We have that dynamic within ourselves. And then, of course, whatever you have going on outside of that too, like if you work or if you have a business or whatever it might be, right? Like if you have extra responsibilities or extra extra things added to that, to being a mom and a homemaker, then we have a lot of dynamics. So there's a lot of things that can get kind of peeled back, and most of the time the one thread is connected to another. And so if you're doing this work for yourself, getting one thread untangled from the bunch is really going to help you to untangle the rest of it. Sorry, my dog is dreaming over here in the corner. So let's go on to the next round of tapping, and just kind of like sit with what that means to you to move at the pace of your own light, right? To move at the speed of your own light. And so let's go into some of the resistance that might happen. So if you were to go at the speed of your own light, what do you feel what would that mean? What would the worst case scenarios be? Like, where does your mind go when you think about that? Again, I think this stems from a lot of the stuff of like, what if I were to pay attention to my own energy, what would I neglect? What would be left out? What would not receive? Like, what would I be taking from? And I think that's a big let's work on that one. Actually, I think that one is the biggest one that kind of feels that might be something that really moms struggle with, is that if I give to myself, that I'm taking from my kids. So especially with this gifts, like exchanging our gifts. So we are exchanging, our time and energy and effort in order to receive whatever it is that we're receiving, right? Whatever it is, like maybe we thought we were going to receive fulfillment. Maybe we thought that having kids was going to fill that void within us, but maybe it didn't. Maybe it created another void. Maybe it was not exactly the way that we thought it was going to be. And we don't want to take it back necessarily, but we can kind of question, what are the motives? What are the conditions? What are the expectations? And can we readjust those things, especially when it comes to giving to ourselves and feeling that guilt or, yeah, mainly guilt about taking from. Like you can find this one from a while back ago, I think last year, but there was an intuitive tapping break I did around us being the channel or the conduit, not the source of love for our kids, for ourselves, for whatever, right? So for our energy. So we are like the vessel for that. So we get that directly from source, but it's so many of us are thinking that it comes from us explicitly and that there is no other source. Like we are the source. We are not the source of it. We are the conduit or the channel or the vessel that allows it to flow through. So if we think about it that way, then we don't necessarily have to worry about being depleted. And that takes practice. That takes a whole dynamic and perception, shift in perception, shift in perspective. Okay, so let's pick the second card here for that on, yes, this is perfect. So we get the card breathe. So when we are feeling like we are giving so much and we are not giving to ourselves, so we're not able to receive, maybe that's self-imposed, we're not allowed to receive because we have blocks, we have beliefs, we have things put in place to keep that out, or whether we think that what we are receiving from others is not enough. It's not what we want. It's not exactly. So to really get to the bottom of all of this, we need to breathe. We need to create space, and we need to get curious about what's going on in order to shift it and change it so that we can actually intentionally, in alignment, get what we want, right? And so that everybody wins, because that's, as mothers, that's what we genuinely want, right? We want everybody to win. We are a part of that everybody part, right? We are a part of that whole scenario. So when we say we want our family to thrive, we are a part of that family. So we have to thrive too, right? And if we're not thriving, then our family's not thriving. So there is that dynamic or that perception or belief that we need to shift, that we are separate from our family and that we have to make that happen for our family and that we're not included in that. So if we put ourselves in there, what kind of discomfort, what kind of barriers, what kind of resistance comes up for you when you think about that? And then breathe into it. Don't try to fix it or change it or try to understand it necessarily. We're just going to create some space for it to be there and to honor it, right? Unconditional honoring, unconditional love and acceptance. So let's go ahead and start tapping on the side of the hand and say, even though in the past I have really tried hard to prioritize everyone and everything around me before prioritizing myself. And I thought this was just how it had to be. In order to be a good mom, in order for our family to thrive. That's just how I thought it had to be. And I'm curious if I could see this differently today. With deep and unconditional love and acceptance for myself. Even though I have been taught as a mom to put everyone and everything in my family above and beyond myself. because that was my job. That's what I signed up for. Those were the terms of the conditions. Maybe it doesn't have to be that way. And maybe we can all still win. And I'm open to seeing what that might be like today. Especially because I don't include myself in everybody winning sometimes. When I say everybody wins, I mean my family, my friends, my work, everything else, but not me. I give myself permission to let that shit go today. And I'm ready to include myself in all of it. Okay, so we're going to move to the top of the head. And we're going to say, the part of me that believes, eyebrow point, that I am separate, side of the eye, that I am the facilitator, underneath the eye. I'm the one that makes it happen for everyone else, underneath the nose. I'm the one that makes everybody in my family happy, underneath the mouth. I organize everything, collarbone point. I set the schedule, underneath the arms. I keep this house and home running, underneath the chest. I forget that I'm a part of this house and home. Wrist points. I forget that I am a part of this family. Top of the head. And I forget that I get to be happy too. Eyebrow point. I forget that I get to be taken care of too. Side of the eye. I forget that I am a priority too. Underneath the eye. I'm ready to remember this today. Underneath the nose. And I honor all of the parts of me underneath the mouth, all of the conditions and expectations. Collarbone point that I have been upholding, underneath the arms, that has been neglected, forgotten, and abandoned, underneath the chest, that has been excluded. Wrist points, that's the missing piece. Top of the head. And I'm ready to start including that piece today. Eyebrow point. I am ready to start including myself today. Side of the eye. When I say that we have a happy, healthy, thriving family, underneath the eye, that means me too. Underneath the nose. When I say that we have a warm and welcoming home, underneath the mouth, that means me too. Collarbone point. I'm ready to lean into this more today. Underneath the arms. And I'm curious about how I can include myself underneath the chest to make myself matter. Wrist points. As much as I make everyone else matter today. All right. So take a nice ton of breath there and just notice what comes up for you around that. Maybe you are already in a place where you do prioritize yourself and that you are taking care of yourself. You are a part of that um, healthy, happy, thriving home, right? You are a part of that family dynamic and that you don't separate yourself from, that whole group, that your family group, right? Maybe that is where you're at. And that is beautiful and that is perfect, right? And that's just exactly where you're meant to be right now. Is there anything else that you can deepen within that? Is there anything else that you can surrender a little bit more to, allowing that to be a little bit more fulfilled or a little bit more, expressed or, um, fulfilled in your life, or fulfilled for yourself, right? And that's amazing. And then maybe you're at the other end of the spectrum where you feel like you are doing everything and everything, anything and everything for everybody else, and everything else is a priority above and beyond yourself. And that is just the way that you were taught. And this whole concept feels completely out of sorts. Like it feels completely unfamiliar, uncertain. It does not feel safe. And so shining at the speed of your own light or moving at the speed of your own light does not feel safe. And so can you just breathe into that space, right? Depending on where you are, and somewhere maybe you're somewhere in the middle, right? Just really taking stock and acknowledging where you are. And that is exactly where you're meant to be today because that's where you are. And meeting yourself there and just breathing, just allowing it to be. And giving yourself permission to sure, have that resistance, be like, I can't surrender to this is not what I want, right? It's kind of like counterintuitive, but maybe we can look at acceptance as like appreciation, right? Maybe trying to change it a little bit, change the wording, change the energy behind it. So if you appreciate where you are today, and you can appreciate that, finding a couple of things that you're actually happy for and grateful for in your life, it's going to help you move into a different state. And that state is where you're going to be able to amplify or expand on that, on what you want, right? Maybe you want more time alone. Maybe you want, more connection with a spouse. Maybe you want more time, where, I don't know what you want, right? And comment below, what do you want? If you took care of yourself more, if you prioritized yourself more, what would that be? How would that look for you? And it's really funny. I think about this and I'm like, when I first started doing this work, it was like, okay, well, I want more time with my friends. I want more time like out of the house. I'm in the house with the toddlers all day long. I want more freedom. I want a little bit more space. And I got that. It wasn't what I was looking for. And I was like, well, maybe I need to just like personal care, self-care, like go get your hair done, go get a massage, go get the mani-pedi, whatever it might be. It wasn't what I was looking for either. And eventually it came down to, I just want time alone. I want time for myself. And I don't want it on such a sporadic occasion that when I do get time for myself, I have to kind of scrimp and scrape and like be like, oh my God, okay, now what am I going to do for myself? Like, no, it can't be pressured. It can't be, it starts out that way. But the more regular you practice, the more regular you create that time and space for yourself to be alone or to get what you want or to have what you want, to prioritize yourself and fulfill yourself in some way, shape, or form, that then allows you to give more to your family. What would that be? Right? And allow it to be bumpy in the beginning because you're learning how to do something differently, right? You're learning how to be in your own space, to be in your own light, to move at the pace of your own light. And essentially that, yeah, sure, it means like what you're doing, but ultimately it means, sorry, we've got a crow raven hanging around and he's just like really looking for some eggs in the chicken coop right now. He's getting a little bossy. Anyway, Um, I don't know where I was going with that. But yeah, just taking a look at what it means to shine, what it means to move at the pace of your own light, like what it means. Like, does it mean taking up more space? Does it mean like having more boundaries? Does it mean asking or expressing yourself in a different way that is more genuine to you? I mean, it could mean so many things. And this is where one-on-one work comes in really, really handy because we can get super specific and it can make a difference for what you're actually experiencing right now. But we're going to do one more last tapping round, and we're going to tap into finding that pace of your own light, like finding the speed of your light, finding just finding your light in general. You know, I did this actually the other day, and this is actually what we're going to do. Is I was feeling pretty disconnected from myself. I am still a stay-at-home mom. I, kind of have sorry, I saw something out there. It looked like something was jumping on a trampoline, and it was our bird feeder, which is like kind of skewed in a, oh my God, that just freaked me out for a second. I was like, what is on our trampoline? It looked like a big white thing. Okay. All good. All good. Okay. So I'm gonna walk you through this practice that I've been doing for myself about finding this connection to the core of us and to the core of you, right? So because we are extended, we always have our feelers up and out, and we're like trying to pay attention at all of these other things, all these distractions, all of these demands. We forget that we're a part of, what it is that we want to create within our home, within our family, within our lives. Who the fuck are we anymore? Right? Where are we? Where are we? Like, do we know? Can we get connected to that part of ourselves? So, we're going to do some finger tapping. So, you're just going to tap very gently at your own pace on the side of the nail beds, kind of in and around that area. If that makes, can you see that? Yeah. Just going back and forth. Doesn't matter which hand, doesn't matter how fast, just find a pace that works for you. Gently tapping back and forth through all 5 of your fingers, just along the nail bed somewhere. You can take a gentle breath and you can close your eyes if that's available to you. If it feels too much, don't close your eyes, just soften your gaze. And again, just taking another nice gentle breath at your own pace. And after having moved through 2 rounds of tapping, kind of hopefully organizing a little bit of those distractions and helping you to remember that you are a part of and included in the health and happiness and the well-being of your family. You get to thrive and be prioritized too. And just, you can ask the question, what does that mean? What is prioritizing myself? And I suggest asking this a couple times. So we're going to move through it a couple of times. And we're just going to notice the emotions or the sensations that come up within us, any thoughts that come up. And we're not going to hold on to them as best as we can. What does it mean to prioritize myself? And just notice and breathe anything that comes up. It's anger, resentment, guilt, shame, sadness, grief. Just hold space for that. What do I need to prioritize myself today? Maybe your mind's trying to go through a list of things. You need to do this, you need to do that. This is what you want. No, this is what you want. Just allow it. And soften as much as you possibly can, even physically softening your face, your forehead, your cheeks, your jaw. Breathing gently in and out. What do you need to prioritize yourself today? Just allowing your body to gently surrender, to just settle into the space. Allow your mind to get bored with this question. What do I need to prioritize myself today? And get familiar with this question. What do I need to prioritize myself today? Taking a nice deep breath here. I'm starting to really feel things settling down. It's not such a loaded question anymore. You're not craving the answer. You're not finding lack or scarcity. It's becoming neutral. It's becoming familiar. What do I need to do in order to prioritize myself today? Ooh, and allowing any yawning, any fidgeting, really just honoring any physical sensations, any thoughts, any emotions that are coming up to the surface right now. And we're working to diffuse that intense reaction that we can sometimes feel when we feel strained or pressure around what it is that we want, what it is that we need. What do I need to prioritize myself today? Maybe you're starting to soften around that question. Maybe it's starting to create a little bit of ease. Maybe it's starting to make you laugh a little bit, right? Like you're like, okay, yeah. We get it. We get it. We get it. What do I need to prioritize myself today? And hopefully we're getting to a place where you are settled, you're feeling soothed, you're not anticipating or you're not bringing the past into this, you're not bringing past experiences or expectations into this. And even if you are, you're very neutral, you're very open, observant, you're just witnessing. What do I need to do to prioritize myself today? Taking a nice gentle breath. And starting to allow your energy and attention to kind of move more internally. Maybe starting up in the face or the head, you can kind of feel this awareness of this observer or this witness. Kind of hovering or sitting up in your third eye area, up in your forehead, up in your brain. And you're going to gently bring your awareness down through your face, down into your throat, and into your shoulder and chest space. So you can take a moment here and stretch as well, but keep on tapping on the finger points and breathing and really allowing that breath to kind of get deeper, to move into that space, down into that space of your neck and your shoulders and your chest. What do you need to do to prioritize yourself today? And just knowing and noticing any sensations, and just breathing and witnessing thoughts and emotions. What do I need to prioritize myself today? What do I need to do to prioritize myself today? And then allowing your awareness and attention to move down further into your diaphragm, your torso, into your stomach, and filling that space in that like sacral or solar plexus area, like all down and through that area. Maybe starting to feel the weight of your hips and your pelvis or your seat bones, just wherever you're sitting. Feel them being more supported, feel them getting heavier. And ask yourself again, what do I need to feel prioritized today? What do I need to feel prioritized today? And again, just observing and noticing what comes up, if anything. And allowing your awareness to move down now into your seat, into your pelvis, through your thighs, into your knees. Just softening, breathing into this space as best you can. What do I need to do to feel prioritized today? What do I need to do in order to feel prioritized today? And again, just moving your awareness from your knees down, your calves and your shins, into your ankles, into your feet and toes. Feeling them start to be more heavy, more supported, more relaxed. Taking a nice gentle breath and asking yourself again, what do I need in order to feel prioritized today? What do I need in order to feel prioritized today? What do I need in order to feel prioritized today? So taking a nice gentle breath here, feeling your breath moving throughout your whole body now. Just imagine or feel or sense or see a very warm and welcoming light spread throughout your body, reaching the edges and even spilling out around you. It can be a soft golden light, silver, whatever you feel drawn to right now. That's warm and welcoming. That feels whole, it feels fulfilling. Just allowing it to move from your head to your toe, taking up space around you and within you. And repeat to yourself out loud or to yourself, I am a priority. I am prioritized. I am taken care of, and I am supported. It's safe to take care of myself. It's safe to receive support. I'm getting better and better at accepting support. I accept that I am a priority. I'm getting better and better at making myself matter. I'm getting better and better at knowing what I want. I'm getting better and better at feeling fulfilled. I feel fulfilled today. I get what I want. I feel fulfilled. It's safe to be a priority. And there's more where that came from. And you can stop tapping on the finger points for a moment before you open your eyes. If they are still closed, you can put your hands on your heart and on your stomach. Just taking in a couple of nice, gentle, deep breaths here. And allowing that light, that warm, welcoming light to radiate around you and within you. It's safe to matter. And you trust that you matter. You can trust that. And anytime you feel a little scattered or unprepared or guilty about taking time out for yourself or any kind of resources for yourself to make yourself matter or to prioritize yourself, to fulfill yourself, and just remember that it all stems from within you. What you want wants you. And it's going to start from the inside out. When you connect within, you're going to be shown the way. Because when you go within, you will never be without. And that is something that you can tap into or tune into at any point, whenever you need. So taking a nice gentle breath, you can gently rub your hands together. You can wiggle your fingers and toes and start to notice the sounds around you in your room that you're in, whatever's going on outside of the room that you're in. Take a nice gentle breath and gently open your eyes when you are ready. And check in with yourself. Notice how you're feeling. And I hope that you enjoyed today's session. We will chat with you very soon for another intuitive guided session. Thank you.